Hey there guys, this is Chef Chris, and today we are making creme caramel, also known as flan. This is the Spanish flan, same thing. This is just made with condensed milk and a little bit of evaporated milk. A little bit different than cream and sugar like people make, but this one is delicious. Alright, so I'm going to start off by using a vanilla bean or vanilla pod here. Now I'm using a vanilla pod. You can use vanilla extract if you do, no problem. Just make sure you use a tablespoon of that versus the vanilla pod. But this had so much more flavor. I slit that in half and I scraped up all that beautiful vanilla beans. That is just like baker's gold right there. It adds so much more flavor. But I won't blame you for not using them. They are expensive, like $17 for two, a little crazy. But I threw that into a 12-ounce can of evaporated milk, and I let that sit for just a second. While I go ahead and grab the saute pan, and I put that on medium-low heat. I'm just gonna infuse that vanilla bean flavor right into that evaporated milk. I simmered it just for a couple of minutes. I didn't let it boil, just let it simmer. Once it was nice and steamy, I went ahead and set that aside. It cooled down just a little bit, and I threw that onto a strainer. I strained it because it does create a little bit of a film on top of the cream, so I wanted that to get away, and a little bit of that vanilla beans. Alright, I let that go ahead and sit down and cool. I grabbed a couple of ramkins, which I spritzed with a little bit of vegetable oil just to keep them from sticking. And it's time to make the caramel. Alright, so in a saute pan on medium heat, I have got 1 cup of sugar versus 1/4 cup of water. You don't have to use water. It's not a problem. It'll melt by itself. Water just gives it a little head start. Alright, now this is the only time I'm going to allow you to stir this caramel. I'm not even stirring it. I'm just making sure all the water, everything's covered with a little bit of that water. Now, you do not want to stir this. I repeat, do not stir it. It will ruin your caramel. It'll crystallize and it'll just ruin it, and you'll have to start over, and it is a pain. Alright, now this is the trick. Like I said, don't stir. You want to go and give it a nice twirl. Every 20 seconds or so on medium heat, you want to give it a nice swirl. Now, I've made caramel quite a few times, so I have much practice in this. If this is your first time, go ahead and put it on medium-low heat, just so you don't burn it, so you don't mess up. But following these instructions, you should have perfect caramel. Again, every 20 seconds or so, give it a nice twirl. And this sauce will turn from a nice tan as it is now to a beautiful light caramel to a dark brown to burnt in seconds. So you do not want to leave this sauce for anything. Don't go and answer the phone. Stay right by your pot. Now, I was very happy with this color. I know it's a little light for a caramel, but I'm making a little caramel garnish that I wanted to be a little darker, just for contrast. So I made mine a little light. If you want it a little darker, just keep it on for just a couple more seconds, and it'll darken up pretty fast. Alright, now we're going to put those in the ramkins, which I spritzed with the vegetable oil. Now you want to be a little fast, because this caramel hardens up very, very fast. Alright, now it's time to make the custard. In a bowl, we have 3 whole eggs and 1 egg yolk. I started off by using a mixer, and then I switched. I'll tell you why in a second. But I'm actually adding a 14-ounce can of condensed milk. That's just very sweet milk, so I don't need any sugar. I'm pouring in the evaporated milk here. And like I said, I started off with a hand mixer, but it was mixing up way too much, so I switched it up to that freakishly small whisk that I have. And I gave it a little stir like that. So I definitely recommend using a whisk versus the mixer, okay? I did it, but I learned my lesson, because it gets too foamy. Alright, now with a ladle, we're going to go ahead and equally distribute that custard into the ramkins. This recipe made exactly 6 of these small little ramkins for me. I was very happy with that. Alright, now in a pan, we're going to create a water bath here. Now I'm getting some hot water. It wasn't boiling, but it is definitely steaming. And we're going to fill up the pan about halfway up those ramkins, okay? And now we're going to go ahead and cover that with some heavy-duty aluminum foil. And we're going to set that very carefully into a preheated 350-degree oven. Alright, and like I said, very carefully, very slowly. You don't want to get any of that water into that custard and ruin it. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and set that timer for 40 minutes. I found that 40 minutes was perfect timing for these. And when those 40 minutes are up, I took it on out, took off that aluminum foil. And you can tell that water's still bubbling, so be careful. But I went ahead and grabbed my freakishly small tongs. I need to get some regular size utensils. And you can see a little jiggle right in the center, and that was perfect. I stuck it in the fridge. As you can tell, that caramel sauce actually melts. It's so weird what it does in the oven. It's beautiful. I added that garnish with the leftover caramel sauce. I put it onto a parchment paper and gave it a swirl. It hardened up It was beautiful, so creamy, so delicious. And that was my flan, guys. If there's any recipes you guys would like to learn how to make, let me know. And hope you guys enjoy.